Have you ever wondered what happens after the last breath? Do we simply dissolve into nothingness, or do we step into a vast unknown, crossing portals that lead beyond human comprehension? Imagine a guide, an ancient text, that not only sheds light on these questions, but offers an in-depth map of the journey through life, death, in the spiritual realms. Welcome, soul traveler, to the Bardo Thodol, better known in the West as the Tibetan Book of the Dead. It is not just a manual about death, but a spiritual roadmap for the very moments that follow the final exhalation. The Bardo Thodol invites you to cross the threshold into the unknown, to understand the spiritual stages that follow death, and perhaps to gain insight into the mystery of our existence. What if you could understand not just the process of dying, but the incredible potential for spiritual liberation that exists in those precious moments after the heart stops beating? Are you ready to journey through the afterlife with a guide crafted centuries ago by a legendary and mystical figure? The Bardo Thodol was created by Padmasambhava, a revered spiritual master from the 8th century whose journey from India to Tibet marked the beginning of a profound spiritual awakening in the region. Padmasambhava is often known as the Guru Rinpoche, meaning the precious master. But his teachings were far from ordinary. He was not just a monk, but a Mahasiddha, an accomplished yogi who mastered esoteric practices and mystical techniques. Padmasambhava arrived in Tibet at a time when the country was steeped in animistic practices, rooted in the Bon religion. These indigenous beliefs were deeply intertwined with nature and the spirit world, and Buddhism, though gaining influence, faced resistance from local deities and spirits. Padmasambhava, using his tantric rituals and mystical knowledge, tamed these spirits, integrating them into Tibetan Buddhism, and laid the groundwork for a spiritual transformation that would endure for centuries. It was within this context that Padmasambhava created the Bardo Thodol, a guide to help the living and the dead navigate the profound transition from life to death. His goal was not just to offer teachings for living beings, but also to ensure that even in death, the soul had a path to liberation. In essence, the Bardo Thodol is a spiritual map for navigating the mysterious realms of the afterlife, and it offers wisdom for both the living and the dead, so that one may transcend the cycle of suffering. In Tibetan Buddhism, death is not the end. It is a transition, a gateway to spiritual freedom. Padmasambhava's teachings describe the moment of death as the entry into the Chikai Bardo, the first stage of the afterlife journey. The Chikai Bardo occurs immediately after death, the moment when the physical body dissolves and the soul is freed from its earthly limitations. In this Bardo, the soul encounters the clear light, a pure and radiant light, often described as the manifestation of ultimate reality. This light represents the absolute nature of the mind, a state of pure consciousness, untainted by duality, fear, or attachment. For the spiritually prepared, this moment offers the possibility of instant liberation. The recognition of the clear light as one's true nature leads to nirvana, transcending the need for further rebirths. In this profound moment, the soul can merge with the universe's inherent truth. But for those unprepared, the experience of the clear light can be terrifying. The soul, not recognizing the light as its essence, may retreat in fear, missing the opportunity for liberation. The second stage, the Chonyid Bardo, is a bardo of visions, where the soul confronts projections of its own mind. In this realm, there are no tangible boundaries. Everything is a reflection of the inner world. The Chonyid Bardo is where all repressed fears, desires, and unresolved emotions surface in vivid, intense visions. These can take on two forms, peaceful or wrathful. Initially, the soul may encounter peaceful deities, light beings, or Buddhas, representing the enlightened aspects of the mind. These visions are serene and benevolent, offering the soul a chance for enlightenment. However, for the unprepared mind, these peaceful visions may seem alien, leading the soul to retreat into confusion or doubt. On the other hand, if the soul does not recognize the peaceful nature of the visions, it is faced with wrathful deities, figures that embody anger, fear, and repressed desires. These wrathful figures are not external demons, but manifestations of the soul's unresolved emotions and attachments. They are a reflection of the mental state, and they challenge the soul to confront its inner darkness. The key to liberation in the Chonyid Bardo lies in the soul's ability to recognize that all visions, peaceful or wrathful, are mere projections of the mind itself. The recognition of this truth is crucial. The clear light, which represents the ultimate nature of all beings, remains present throughout this bardo, like the sun behind the clouds of illusions. If the soul can maintain awareness of this clear light, it can transcend the cycle of rebirth and reach enlightenment. After experiencing the Chonyid Bardo, the soul enters the final stage of the process, the Sidpa Bardo, the rebirth bardo. In this stage, the soul is drawn by karmic tendencies towards a new life. The accumulated actions, thoughts, and desires from past lives create a powerful pull that leads the soul to choose a new physical form. These desires manifest in the form of visions of union, images that symbolize the creation of a new life. The Sidpa Bardo is a crucial moment. The choice of rebirth is determined by the karmic energy that the soul carries. If a soul remains attached to its desires, it will be drawn into a new body that mirrors its emotional and spiritual state. If a person's mind is filled with fear, that fear will guide the soul towards a life filled with challenges that reflect that emotion. The same goes for desires, attachments, and unhealed wounds. However, spiritual practitioners who have trained in detachment and mindfulness can recognize these visions for what they are: temporary projections. For these souls, the Sidpa Bardo offers an opportunity for liberation. By observing the visions without attachment, the soul can choose not to be reborn and instead merge with the clear light. This final realization marks the ultimate victory over the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. The Bardo Thodol is not just a text about death, it is a guide to life. It teaches us that the cycle of samsara, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, is a continuous process of self-discovery, and that the mind's attachment to illusions keeps us trapped. By understanding the nature of our fears, desires, and attachments, we can transcend them. Through spiritual practices like meditation, mindfulness, and self-reflection, we prepare ourselves not only for death, but for true freedom. The Bardo Thodol is an invitation to live a life of awakening, where each moment is an opportunity to confront the illusions that bind us to suffering. By contemplating our mortality and the mysteries of the afterlife, we gain insight into the ultimate nature of existence. This preparation, while we are still alive, gives us the ability to see beyond the limitations of the physical world, moving towards spiritual enlightenment. The Bardo Thodol is one of the most profound spiritual texts ever created, offering a guide to the afterlife and a roadmap to liberation. It shows us that death is not the end, but a continuation of our journey toward enlightenment. By understanding the bardos, the states of consciousness that arise after death, we gain not just knowledge of the afterlife, but also tools for spiritual transformation in our present life. So as we contemplate the great mystery of existence and death, we ask, are we ready for the ultimate journey? Are we prepared to face the clear light and transcend the illusions of the mind? Perhaps the true journey of self-discovery begins with the awareness of death, and in the process we find the key to living fully.